Ladies and gentlemen, I have a question for you today. Who's sitting in the front row of your life? Because I promise you, the people closest to you will either lift you higher than you ever imagined or keep you chained to the floor while your dreams starve. When you walk into a room, you should feel like the smallest thinker in the room because you're surrounded by people whose vision makes yours grow. You can't soar like an eagle if you're scratching with chickens. Body, I remember a time when I was struggling. I had the desire, the hunger, but the voices around me were whispering things like, be realistic, don't aim too high. You're not that kind of person. And for a while, I believed them. Then one day, I met people who didn't laugh at my dreams. They didn't tell me to calm down. They said, why not you? Why not now? They were doors, achievers, visionaries. And when I stood close to their fire, I caught flame myself. If you keep spending your time with people who drain your energy, you'll never have enough to climb your own mountain. But when you align with greatness, people who challenge you, sharpen you, and remind you of who you really are, you'll rise, not just a little. You'll rise beyond what you thought was possible. Call to action. Some of you here today, you've been keeping company with people who treat your potential like a joke. It's time to set a higher standard for who gets access to your ears, your mind, and your heart. You are not here to fit in. You are here to stand out, and you will only rise as high as the company you keep. So ask yourself every day, does this person make me better? Do they see the best in me? Do they challenge me to grow? If the answer is no, love them from a distance, but don't give them the steering wheel to your future. Closing, surround yourself with people who speak life into your dreams, people whose very presence makes you uncomfortable because they force you to stretch. You don't get great by accident, you get great by choice. So today, make the choice, surround yourself with greatness, and watch your own greatness come alive. Your environment is like the soil in which your life is planted. You can have the best seeds, talent, ambition, drive, but if you plant them in poor soil, they will never grow to their full potential. Just like a flower can't bloom in the wrong climate, your dreams can't thrive in an environment that doesn't feed them. Look around you. Every conversation you have, every piece of advice you receive, every attitude you're exposed to is shaping you, little by little, without you even realizing it. Your environment is either pulling you toward your destiny or dragging you away from it. You are not just a product of your decisions. You are a product of your surroundings. Think about it. If you spend enough time with people who complain, you'll start to complain. If you surround yourself with people who settle for less, you'll start to believe that settling is normal. But if you choose to be around people who dream bigger, who act bolder, who live with passion, that mindset will rub off on you like gold dust on your hands. Your environment also sets the standard for what you believe is possible. If everyone around you is playing small, you may start to think that's the limit. But when you step into a space where people are building businesses, writing books, creating opportunities, and achieving goals, suddenly the impossible starts to feel like the next logical step. You begin to see that success isn't just for them, it's for you too. The truth is, success leaves clues, but you can't find those clues if you're standing in the wrong place. Being in the right environment allows you to witness habits, mindsets, and strategies that winners use every day. You get to absorb their energy, learn from their stories, and adopt their way of thinking without even realizing it. It's not magic, it's exposure. Your environment also influences your emotions. The people and spaces around you affect how you feel on a daily basis. If your surroundings are filled with encouragement, support, and positivity, you're more likely to feel motivated and confident. But if your environment is toxic, filled with doubt, criticism, or fear, those emotions will seep into your spirit and weigh you down. Sometimes changing your environment doesn't mean moving to a new city or country. It means shifting who you allow into your inner circle. It means being intentional about the books you read, the content you watch, and the conversations you engage in. Your physical surroundings matter, but your mental surroundings matter even more. Here's the reality: you can't grow in an environment that's not designed for growth. Just as a fish can't thrive in polluted water, you can't reach your potential in a toxic atmosphere. Your future depends on the ground you're standing on today. If you want to change your life, start by changing where and with whom you spend it. If you are the smartest, most ambitious, most knowledgeable person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Growth doesn't happen when you're surrounded by people you've already outgrown. It happens when you step into a space where the conversations stretch your mind, the ideas challenge your limits, and the people inspire you to level up. Being the smallest thinker in the room isn't about feeling inferior. It's about being in a place where the vision is so big, it makes your own goals feel small in comparison. It's about being humbled and motivated at the same time. It's walking away from a conversation thinking, I need to dream bigger, move faster, and believe harder. When you're the smallest thinker in the room, you are forced to listen more than you speak. You absorb wisdom, strategies, and insights from people who have already been where you want to go. They've fought the battles you haven't yet faced. They've made the mistakes you haven't yet made, and they've achieved milestones you haven't yet reached. Their stories become your blueprint. The right room makes you uncomfortable in the best possible way. You might feel like you're playing catch up, but that's exactly where growth lives, in the space where you're being stretched. Comfort is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. When the people around you are dreaming on a scale that intimidates you, it forces you to question your own limits. Being the smallest thinker in the room also changes your perspective on what's normal. In a room of big thinkers, success isn't rare, it's expected. High standards aren't unusual, they're the baseline. In that environment, you stop making excuses because everyone around you is proving that it can be done. You start adopting a mindset where big goals feel natural, not impossible. There's also a powerful sense of accountability when you're surrounded by people ahead of you. They will call you out when you're slacking, push you when you're hesitating, and remind you of your potential when you forget it. Their example forces you to show up differently, to think more creatively, and to take bolder action. The truth is, many people avoid rooms where they're the smallest thinker because it challenges their ego. But that's the trap. Staying in spaces where you're the biggest thinker might feel good, but it stunts your growth. Real progress requires humility, the willingness to be a student again, and the courage to stand among giants. So, seek out those rooms that make you feel like you've just scratched the surface of what's possible. Rooms where every conversation lights a fire inside you. Rooms where you are reminded over and over again that your dreams can and should be bigger. Every dream has an enemy, and sometimes that enemy doesn't wear a mask or carry a weapon. They wear a friendly smile. They sit across from you at lunch. They share your last name. Dream killers are not always bad people. Sometimes they're people who simply cannot see what you see. They look at your vision through the lens of their own limitations, and then they hand you back a smaller version of it. A dream killer is anyone who plants seeds of doubt in your mind. You tell them your big idea, and they respond with, "That's risky. Are you sure you can do that?" What if it doesn't work out? At first, those words might sound like concern, but if you're not careful, they will take root in your spirit and choke the life out of your ambition. The most dangerous dream killers aren't the loud, obvious ones, they're the subtle ones. They don't attack your dream directly. Instead, they slowly erode your confidence. They'll say things like, it's just not the right time, or maybe you should be more realistic. If you hear those phrases often enough, you might start believing them. You have to understand that your dream is like a newborn, fragile, precious, and in need of protection. You wouldn't hand a newborn to someone who doesn't know how to care for it. In the same way, you cannot share your vision with people who don't have the capacity to nurture it. Not everyone deserves a seat at the table where your future is being planned. Avoiding dream killers doesn't mean cutting people out of your life entirely. It means creating boundaries. You can love someone deeply while still refusing to let them influence your decisions. You can respect someone's opinion while recognizing that it's shaped by their own fears, not your potential. Sometimes the dream killer lives inside your own head, that inner voice that says, you're not good enough, you're not ready, you don't have what it takes. You have to treat that voice the same way you treat external negativity, by starving it of attention and feeding yourself with faith, courage, and evidence of your capabilities. You'll know you're dealing with a dream killer when you walk away from a conversation feeling smaller instead of larger, more doubtful instead of more determined. The right people will make your dream feel possible. The wrong ones will make it feel foolish. Your job is to tell the difference and then guard your vision like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. The world is already full of people who want to tell you what you can't do. Don't let them move into your inner circle. Keep your dream in the company of believers, encouragers, and builders, and watch how much further, faster, and higher you go. There is a powerful shift that happens when you find people who believe in you, not just in what you've already done, but in what you're capable of becoming. These are the people who see your potential even when you can't see it yourself. They look at you not through the lens of your current reality, but through the lens of your future possibilities. When you have someone who believes in you, their words carry weight. A simple, you can do this, from the right person can be the fuel that gets you through your toughest battles. It's not that you suddenly gain new abilities. It's that their belief in you helps you tap into the abilities you already have but haven't yet unleashed. Believers challenge you in a different way than critics do. A critic might point out what's wrong, but a believer will point out what's possible. They won't let you settle for average when they know there's greatness in you. They'll push you when you're tired, remind you of your strengths when you feel weak, and hold you accountable to the vision you've declared. Sometimes all it takes to change the course of your life is one person who believes in you. History is full of people who went from obscurity to greatness because someone saw something in them worth fighting for. You might be one conversation away from meeting that person, or being that person for someone else. But here's the key. You can't find people who believe in you if you hide your dream. You have to share it, speak it, and put it out into the world. Believers can't cheer for what they don't know exists. When you speak your vision with conviction, you make it easier for the right people to recognize themselves as part of your journey. Believers are not blind to your flaws. They see them, but they see your potential as bigger than your weaknesses. They understand that growth is a process, and they're willing to walk with you through it. They don't just cheer when you win. They stand by you when you're in the trenches. The presence of a believer in your life can make the difference between giving up and pushing forward. When the road gets dark, they're the ones holding the flashlight. When you start doubting yourself, they remind you of every reason why you started in the first place. Their faith in you becomes a mirror that reflects the best version of who you are. If you're serious about reaching your full potential, you need to intentionally seek out these people. They might be mentors, friends, colleagues, or even strangers you haven't met yet. But once you find them, value them, because in a world full of critics, people who believe in you are rare and they are priceless. Energy is one of the most powerful forces you'll ever encounter, and you catch it just like you catch a cold. Spend enough time around people who radiate excitement, drive, and optimism, and you'll start to feel it in your own spirit. But spend your days around people who are constantly complaining, doubting, or dragging their feet, and you'll absorb that too. Every conversation you have is an exchange of energy. Some people leave you feeling lighter, sharper, more alive. Others leave you drained, frustrated, and questioning yourself. That's not magic. That's the transfer of emotional and mental energy from one person to another. And the scary part, most people don't even realize it's happening. The people you surround yourself with set the emotional climate of your life. If your inner circle thrives on ambition, creativity, and resilience, you'll naturally start matching that frequency. You'll push yourself harder, dream bigger, and recover faster from setbacks because that's the culture you're breathing in every day. On the other hand, if you spend too much time with people who expect the worst, see problems in every solution, and talk more about obstacles than opportunities, you'll start wearing those patterns like a second skin. It becomes your default mode without you even noticing. That's why you have to be intentional about your proximity to energy sources. Just like a phone battery charges faster when it's plugged directly into a power source, your motivation charges faster when you're plugged into people who inspire you. And just like a phone drains quicker when too many apps are running, your energy drains quicker when too many negative voices are in your ear. You can't fake energy for long. The truth always shows. That's why high energy people stand out in any room. They have a spark that makes you lean in, listen closer, and want to take action. Their excitement becomes your excitement. Their belief becomes your belief. And before you know it, you're operating at a level you didn't think was possible. The key is to recognize that you're not just influenced by other people's energy, you're also influencing theirs. Every time you step into a room, you're either adding to the energy or subtracting from it. That means your own mindset, attitude, and enthusiasm matter just as much as the company you keep. So be ruthless about guarding your energy and equally intentional about amplifying it. Align yourself with people who lift the room when they enter, who make ideas feel possible, and who turn fear into action. Because in the right environment with the right energy, your potential stops being a theory and starts becoming your reality. Negativity is like secondhand smoke. Even if you're not the one creating it, breathing it in over time will poison you. You can be full of ambition, hope, and drive, but if you're constantly surrounded by people who see life through a lens of fear, doubt, and criticism, their outlook will slowly seep into your mindset. Negative people have a way of magnifying problems and shrinking possibilities. You tell them your idea, and instead of asking, how can we make it work, they tell you 10 reasons why it can't. You share a win, and instead of celebrating, they remind you of the risks ahead. It's not always malicious. Sometimes it's just the only language they know. But regardless of the intention, The effect is the same. They drain your momentum. That's why you must protect your mental space the same way you protect your physical health. You wouldn't knowingly eat something rotten. You shouldn't keep feeding your mind with toxic conversations. Distance is not about hatred, it's about preservation. You have too much potential to let it be suffocated by someone else's limitations. The tricky part is that negativity can sometimes come from people you care about deeply. It can be family, friends, or colleagues who genuinely think they're protecting you by keeping your feet on the ground. But the truth is, if you spend too much time grounded, you'll never learn how to fly. Sometimes love means limiting the influence someone has over your dreams. Distancing yourself doesn't always mean cutting people off completely. Sometimes it's about reducing your exposure. You can choose when, how, and how much you engage with someone. You can control the depth of your conversations, steering away from topics that invite criticism and staying focused on subjects that don't drain you. When you create that space, you make room for voices that lift you higher. You allow encouragement, wisdom, and positivity to fill the silence that negativity once occupied. That shift in your environment can feel like stepping from a storm into sunlight. You can finally see clearly again. And here's the truth. The more you grow, the more you'll naturally outgrow certain attitudes, mindsets, and even relationships. That's not betrayal. That's evolution. You are not obligated to carry someone else's pessimism into your future. Your mission is too important, your time too precious, and your energy too valuable to waste on forces pulling you backward. Negativity will always exist in the world, but you get to decide how close it gets to you. Keep it at arm's length, keep your mind clear, and keep moving toward the people and places that make you believe in what's possible. Comfort is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. When life gets easy, when every day feels predictable, when you're no longer stretching yourself, you're not just standing still, you're slowly drifting backward. The human spirit was built for progress, and progress only happens when you step into the unknown and push beyond what feels safe. The challenge is where transformation lies. It's the weight that builds your strength, the up climb that builds your endurance, the tough conversations that sharpen your character. If everything you're doing feels comfortable, you're probably not living anywhere near your potential. Comfort is the enemy of greatness because it convinces you to settle for good enough. Seeking challenge means putting yourself in situations where you might fail, but also where you might discover abilities you didn't know you had. It's saying yes to opportunities that scare you, joining rooms where you feel out of your depth, and tackling projects that make your stomach flip. Growth rarely comes gift wrapped in ease, it comes wrapped in difficulty, uncertainty, and risk. The people who grow the fastest are the ones who chase challenges on purpose. They know that every challenge they face today is preparing them for the opportunities of tomorrow. They understand that pressure doesn't just reveal character, it builds it. They look at fear not as a stop sign, but as a signal that they're heading in the right direction. Comfort whispers, stay here. It's safe. Challenge shouts, come here, it's worth it. And the truth is, safety is an illusion. Staying comfortable might feel secure in the moment, but over time it robs you of the skills, resilience, and vision you'll need when life inevitably tests you. You can't avoid difficulty forever, but you can choose the kind of difficulty you face. When you actively seek challenge, you train yourself to adapt. You become more resourceful, more confident, and more courageous. You stop waiting for perfect conditions because you've learned how to operate in imperfect ones. The more you step into discomfort, the less it scares you, and the more it starts to feel like a normal part of your growth. Seeking challenge also changes the type of people you attract. High achievers and big thinkers gravitate toward others who are willing to stretch. When you make challenge a habit, you naturally surround yourself with people who will push you higher instead of letting you coast. And in that environment, your ceiling becomes your floor. If you keep choosing comfort, you'll keep getting the same results you've always had. But the moment you choose challenge over and over again, you'll start to unlock levels of yourself you didn't even know existed. That's where the breakthroughs lie. That's where your best self is waiting. Not everyone should have a front row seat to your life. Just because someone wants your time, attention, or energy doesn't mean they've earned the right to it. The truth is, your inner circle is sacred ground, and you have to treat it that way. If you don't set standards for who gets access, you'll find yourself surrounded by people who take more than they give, drain more than they pour, and distract more than they inspire. Setting standards for access is about knowing your value. It's about understanding that your time is your most valuable currency, and the people you spend it on will shape the direction of your life. Every relationship is either an investment or an expense, and if you're not careful, you'll go bankrupt emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually by spending too much on the wrong people. When you have clear standards, you stop accepting every invitation, every opinion, and every request for your attention. You start evaluating people by how they treat you, how they speak about your dreams, and whether they align with your values. This isn't arrogance, it's stewardship. You're protecting the energy and focus you need to fulfill your potential. Some people get unlimited access to you because they've proven themselves over time. They've shown loyalty, support, honesty, and consistency. Others might only get limited access because they haven't earned the right to influence your decisions or your direction. And then there are those who, for your own growth, need no access at all. The hardest part of setting standards is enforcing them, especially with people you care about. You might feel guilty for creating boundaries, but boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They're gates to ensure the right people are let in. When you set a high bar for who enters your space, you also raise the standard for yourself. And here's the thing. The people who truly belong in your life will respect your standards. They won't be offended by them because they understand the importance of protecting your peace. It's the ones who resist or push against your boundaries that prove why those boundaries were necessary in the first place. Setting standards for access also means protecting your mental space from unnecessary noise. Not everyone deserves to speak into your vision. Not everyone's opinion should carry equal weight. You get to choose whose words you allow to shape your mindset and whose influence you give permission to guide your path. When you become intentional about who gets access to you, you create a circle that's strong, uplifting, and aligned with where you're going. And once that circle is in place, you'll find that progress comes faster, challenges feel lighter, and your focus stays sharper because you're no longer fighting battles with people who shouldn't have been in your space in the first place.